Hey, good morning, everyone. Uh, Welcome to this Monday morning table and coffee and me. Are you as awake as I am? That's cool. That's cool if you're not, too, either. So, drink your coffee and listen. That's cool. Uh, so, please let us know who you are and where you're from in the chat box. And any comments or questions, also put those in the chat box as well. My name is Tracey Pacheco Medeiros. I am an author, a suicide attempt survivor, a suicide loss survivor, and an impacted family member. I am a Mass State certified peer specialist with a BA in psychology and concentration and addictions. I love motorcycles, my minions, road trips, and Stephen King. And sometimes on those road trips, I do find Stephen King right out of the movie. Um, we do this regularly, but we we want to let people know that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so it's a good fit, right? Um, so what else? Oh, okay. So talk saves lives, right? And one of these things I'm stressing the importance about is attempt and loss survivors and their families, is how important it is for all of us to break the silence. And that means talk, 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 you know, talk about talk about what we have experienced and how we've not only learned to cope with the trauma, but to also find a life worth living, in the face of all of this chaos that we roll around in our heads. And you know so for me this spotlights another issue that is being recognized in May is Motorcycle Awareness Month. Look twice, save a life. It's kind of fitting how they're both in the same month, isn't it? Right? Look twice, save a life. Mental Health Awareness Month. It's the same thing. Look twice, save a life. That rolls right with it. You never know when someone's going to need your help. Um, Riding my motorcycle is one of the best soul care options I know. And when I don't do it, I don't feel well. Like every winter, I go through this like complete withdrawal of not riding my motorcycle and how it has a devastating effect on me. Um, so I went out last night and I did a night ride and I had such a great ride. I mean, it wasn't that long. It was just like about 35 miles, just a little while. But it was nice. It was perfect weather. Um, and I kept looking at that moon. And every time I wanted to pull over, there was a tree in front of me because I really, really wanted to take a picture. And I just couldn't find a good spot when I was riding, you know. So it's taken a long time, but finally I want to get to the end of my second book, The Tale of the Dragon. So I hope you're all going to be looking for that. All kinds of stuff got in the way, over the past year to get it done with the publisher, but we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm looking forward to finally getting it out there. So last year, when I first began to do these coffee and me chats, I was in Indiana visiting my family, and I thought maybe that I'd walk through my first book and think about these topics 4 years later, right? So and now it's 5 years later. So the book is titled Embracing Imperfection: The Healing Journey of a Suicide Attempt Survivor. It's an informal conversation memoir. So this was published in April of 2017. And this is what's on the inside of the cover. This roller coaster ride to recovery from self-injury, suicidal thinking, and attempts to finding those moments of emotional balance and inner peace is dedicated to teens, young adults, and their parents. And I also said my thoughts get jumbled up sometimes, and and I can, I also jump all over the place, but hey, that's how I talk, right? Seriously. That's why I use a script in the morning, because I don't want to get too far off the beaten track, because otherwise I start repeating myself, and I really don't like to do that. And yet, over the years, I've witnessed and experienced the positive impact how sharing my story has on others when I took the risk to just stand up and share my story from the heart. I know a lot of suicide attempt and loss survivors wonder about telling their story publicly, or even putting it into a book. So the best advice that I was giving was to stop thinking about writing a book and just sit down and have a conversation. Now, that first conversation that ended up as this book took about 10 years to share. Seriously. The book is an easy read. It's only 91 pages long. It's on Amazon in paperback and as an ebook on Kindle, which is like the way people are reading nowadays, which is cool. So I had to get with the times. So you don't have to write a book, but please, if you have this lived experience, and I'm talking to people, talking to you all right now, if you have this lived experience, please break the silence. Step out of the shadow so others will do the same. That's the only hope we have of shattering the stigma, the judgment, the discrimination. We all need to come together, because our experience matters. That's what matters. Because if we don't tell people how we're feeling, and we don't tell people what's going on, how are we going to learn from each other? We always think that we're always alone, but nobody knows how I'm feeling. To be honest with you, we have similar experiences. We do know what it's like to feel that dark shadow. We may not have the same trauma, but we have the same feelings, same darkness that comes over us to unwillingly want to kill ourselves, to die by suicide. It's one of the reasons why I do this, because I don't want to die by suicide. And I don't want others out there to die by suicide, because we really don't want to die by suicide. We just want the pain to stop. We want this darkness to go away. This unwitting darkness that just falls right over our face. And a lot of times we don't know how to get out of there. But if you do talk to another attempt survivor that knows about that darkness, they can help you reach that point, reach that goal of getting yourself out of that darkness. So, back to the book, right? Okay. So we've donated hundreds of them to local schools, right, as young as 6th grade. There's nothing triggering, in the book. And I've had lots of parents and teachers say, it really helped them better understand someone who has attempted suicide might be experiencing. And that's why I keep stressing that we really do have to break the silence. Peer to peer, others need to know what that they're not alone. They're not the only ones, that we do understand. Like I said before, we do understand. We get it. And like so many others, I had no idea about where do I begin? Just where? And I kept asking that question when I started writing. And one suggestion was to journal. Something that I still hate to do today. Don't tell anybody. Another chapter is called Sanctuary. I this is what I wrote. The word sanctuary never had much meaning to me. It was something other people had. For much of my life where I lived was never a sanctuary. Looking back, it's amazing and sad how much of my life I never felt safe anywhere. But that's changed. Now, the rest of this chapter was about where I lived for 5 years. In the beginning, it was my sanctuary after my breast cancer surgery. When I first did the Coffee and Me, I was in a little house looking over the Ohio River. It has become my sanctuary for me when I visit my family every year, and I really love going there. And I try to book it well in advance just to make sure that I'm guaranteed that spot in that house, because I love that house. I love where it's located. I just love it. I guess I was lucky to have a mentor who was able to give me suggestions about topics and experiences to talk about. Not everybody, has a mentor, I was blessed to have a very good mentor to be a part of my life. This is one of the reasons I really like the wellness workshops I was part of creating. They help us to discuss our lived experience and give us more opportunities to share in the workshops, at our community conversations, in conferences, etc. But whether it's the one or in a workshop, we need to break the silence out of our lived experience. Last week, I gave the link for our documentary, A Voice at the Table. I hope you all watched it and got something out of it. The purpose of that film was to, help tear down the barriers so we could be more open about our lived experience and the coping skills we each found that to help us continue to live life fully. So the takeaways for this morning are, you're never going to know, right? Break the silence. Break the silence. Oh, wait, one more. And break the silence. Those are your takeaways. So I'll post a new link for Wednesday later today, or tomorrow. So be looking out for it. I want to thank people for, stopping by and viewing it and having their coffee with me. So remember, let me know what you'd like to talk about. If you could just tap it in the chat there for me, maybe I can bring up some really interesting, cool stuff that we can find. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so kindly.